Hi you guys, if you were not in class today or if you just wanted a quick recap of what we did in class, I'm going to go through the notes that we took. So our first question in the notes said, what does 3 squared mean? 3 squared, or 3 to the power of 2, means to multiply 3 by itself 2 times. So the base of 3 is what is going to be multiplied. And the exponent of 2 means it's going to be multiplied by itself twice. So 3 times 3, which is 9. Similarly, 3 to the 5th power means to multiply the base of 3 5 times. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So this is 5 factors of 3. So once again, the base is 3, that's the number we're multiplying, and we're multiplying it by itself 5 times. Notice that this is not the same as 3 times 5. It is not 3 times 5. 3 to the 5th power is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which, if I calculate really quick, 3 to the 5th power is 243. There are a couple ways to do this in the calculator. I could enter in 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, or I could use my calculator if I have a scientific calculator and press 3, and then there's a button called a caret that looks like this in your calculator, and then 5, and then enter or equals, and you end up getting the same answer. It's just less frustrating than having to type out all of these 3's. All right, so the next thing we talked about is more so like vocabulary. So this 4 right up here, this is called the exponent or the power. And that is the number of factors of the base. In other words, it's the amount of times you're going to multiply the base by itself. So the exponent is 4, and 3 is the base. And that is the number being multiplied. And we read this as 3 to the 4th power, or 3 to the power of 4, either way. And it would be expanded as 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So there's 4 factors of 3. Next, we're going to talk about exponential form, but we're introducing some variables. So I'm going to use b for the base to the power of p as the exponent. What that means is you're going to multiply b times b times b a bunch of times, depending on what p is, times b times b. So you're multiplying the base b p times. So this would be p factors of b. So once again, the base is what's being multiplied. The exponent is how many times you're multiplying it. We have a couple special exponents that are read or can be read differently. So 5 to the power of 2, for example, can also be read as 5 squared. And 5 to the power of 3 can be read as 5 cubed. And this is a little bit more common for mathematicians. If you see 5 to the power of 2, mathematicians usually say 5 squared. And also with 5 to the power of 3, mathematicians usually say 5 cubed. Next in class, we went over some examples. So for example, 7 cubed. We expanded it first, so 7 times 7 times 7. We have 3 factors of 7. And when we calculated that, we got 343. Then we did -2 to the 5th power, which is -2 times -2 times negative 2 5 times, and that ended up being equal to negative 32. And then we did 3.8 to the 4th, 3.8 times 3.8 times 3.8 times 3.8, and that was 208.5136. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 problems up here, and I want you to pause the video and try them on your own first. So 4 to the 5th, remember to write it out expanded first, and then write the actual numerical answer at the end. The next one is negative 1 to the 4th, so remember to write that out expanded first, and then your actual answer below. The last one is 2 to the 3rd power, or sorry, 2.3 squared, and you're going to expand that and then write what that equals. So go ahead and pause the video now and then try these out, and then once you're ready, go ahead and unpause and I will show you the answers. All right, so here are the answers. Go ahead and check, make sure you did everything right. If there was something that was a little bit off and you have a question about it, feel free to email me. Next, we're gonna do basically the same thing, but with fractions. So let's say we have 3/5 to the 2nd power, or 3/5 squared. That is the same as 3/5 times 3/5. And to multiply fractions, we multiply the top numbers, the numerators, 3 times 3, which is 9. And then you multiply the denominators, 5 times 5, which is 25. Notice that 3/5 squared ends up being the same as 3 squared over 5 squared. So that's just something to remember for later, that 3/5 squared ends up being the same as 3 squared over 5 squared. All right, so I'm going to write another one down, and once again I want you to pause the video and try this on your own, and then when you're done, go ahead and unpause. So try this one out, 2/3 to the 4th power, pause the video, and then when you're ready, unpause, and I will show the answer. All right, so what I got was 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3. So this is 4 factors of 2/3. Then I multiplied the numerators, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, that was 16. And then 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 was 81. And once again, notice this is the same as 2 to the 4th over 3 to the 4th. Ends up being the same exact thing. All right, so finally, we're going to scroll down a little bit and practice writing numbers as exponents. So now we're going to go backwards a little bit. So we're going to start with expanded form. For example, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. This is 5 factors of 3. So we would write that as 3 to the power of 5, or 3 to the 5th power. So I want you to try this one. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So go ahead and pause the video and try writing that on your own, and then unpause when you're ready. All right, so if you did this right, you should have gotten 2 to the 7th, since there are 7 factors of 2. We can also do this with variables. So x times x times x. That's 3 factors of x, so I could write this as x cubed. And we can also do this with really long factors. So 2 times 2 times 2, dot, 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 times 2. Imagine there were 10 factors of 2, so that would be 2 to the 10th. I didn't write them out because that would be really long and time consuming. So one way, if you don't want to write something all the way out and it's obvious what would be in between, you can use these little dots to show that you're just multiplying 2 and then in parentheses put that you're doing it 10 times, which is 2 to the 10th. All right, so now I'll give you a couple examples. C times C times C times C. And then once you're done trying that one, try out this. 4 times 4 times 4, dot, 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 multiplying 4 26 times. So there's 26 factors of 4. So as always, go ahead and pause the video, try these out, and then unpause when you're ready. All right, so if you did this right, you should get C to the 4th. And for this one down here, you should have gotten 4 to the 26th. And that is all of the notes that we took in class today. There was also a homework assignment, so I'll send that out as well, and along with an answer key.